Alright, we need to get a bit serious today because there's something I wanted to share with you all that, if I'm honest, I think might ruffle some feathers. All these terrible thoughts that I'm having, I know something bad's going to happen to me, and I want to talk about the dark side of the law of attraction. Now, if you haven't come across the law of attraction before, let me give you a basic overview. I first came across it because there was a book that came out called The Secret by a lady called Rhonda Byrne, and it really talks about the law of attraction. It's an idea that if you think of something, and you really get into imagining it very, very deeply and very, very vividly, and you really act as if it's true, and you fully, deeply embrace it as a reality, that you'll be sending out vibrations, an energy that attracts that into your life. And there are lots of people who will say that I've been focusing on money and imagining money coming into my life, and it's amazing. Money came into my life. It works. I wanted to share with you some thoughts about all this and what I call the dark side of the law of attraction. By the way, if you haven't already, subscribe and also click the bell. That's how you get notified when these videos come out. Listen, I've been working with people for over 18 years, helping them with all sorts of difficulties. And the law of attraction, in the last, I would say, 8-9 years, keeps popping up every so often in my therapeutic schedule. And the reason why is people will come and see me. They're having maybe some intrusive thoughts, is what they say, or they're having some things that are scaring them. And inevitably it comes down to them saying, well, but I've read The Secret, or I'm a believer in the law of attraction. And so all these terrible thoughts that I'm having, I know something bad's going to happen to me. And that's why, aren't I bringing this terrible stuff in to my life? And instead of the law of attraction being something incredibly positive for people, there's a lot of people who end up in fear and anxiety because they build this belief that they're bringing this stuff into their life. I think this is kind of important to begin to share what are my thoughts about the law of attraction, and how do we help people navigate that? Why do people believe so strongly in the law of attraction? Well, there's an interesting idea here, which is people will read it or come across this idea of the law of attraction, start testing it out, like focusing on something, and then when that thing happens, they attribute it to, it's because I've been focusing on it, right? So this is equivalent to, how many people have you ever come across who will say things to you like, I genuinely think I'm a little bit psychic. Oh, right, how do you know that? How? Well, because sometimes I think of someone and then they ring me. Okay, well, I start thinking to myself, okay, that's fine, but have you ever thought of someone and they haven't rung you? Why don't you count that against the tally of whether you're accurately psychic or not, or willing people into your life to ring you? Because you were thinking of them. But this is essentially confirmation bias. I'll give you a really good example of this. I remember buying a new car years and years and years ago. It was my first ever car. I was so excited. It was a tiny 0.8 litre engine Daewoo Matiz. This thing, oh my word, there were lawnmowers that had bigger engines than this thing. But I remember going and getting it, and one of the things I liked about it, apart from the fact that it was the only car I could afford at the time, was I didn't see them out all over the place. So I went and got this thing, and I swear, I drive out the allotment, and these cars are everywhere. I'm seeing them left, I'm seeing them right. There must have been 30 of these cars all the way home. What's happened? Has suddenly the world gone mad and all bought these cars? No! It's confirmation bias. Now I'm filtering for it, I'm looking for it, and I spot it more and more. But does that mean that the number of Daewoo Matizes in the world had suddenly changed from before I bought it to after? Not really, but we're noticing it more. And sometimes confirmation bias is a very tricky beast. It really means that whatever we believe and we think is true, we are now more likely to filter for. So, of course, if I read the law of attraction and started imagining, oh, I'm bringing money into my life and money into my life and money into my life, and 3 weeks later, I get a check in the post. It's a tax rebate, perhaps. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah, like that happens. But I would, of course, immediately, instead of going, oh, I got a tax rebate, I would immediately jump to the conclusion and go, oh, the law of attraction is working. Is it? Or is it just that I'm filtering my experience through this belief? And now confirmation bias is proving that to me. It's helping me focus on those things. So that's fine, bring money into your life. But as we said, what if it's the dark side? What if it's someone who becomes obsessed with a negative thought and starts now thinking, what if something bad happens to me? And now becomes terrified that something will, because that's where their focus is. I'll often do this as an exercise, and I'll invite you to do this at home right now too. Take 10 seconds right now, look around the room you're in, and find all the things that you can see in the room that are blue. Go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, eyes front, and tell me, how many things did you see just now that were red? Now, most people don't see red. Why? Because you were looking for blue. And if I ask you now to look around the room and find all the things that are actually red, can you find more when you're actually looking for red? Let me know in the comments below what your experience was with this. Now, most people, when they're looking for blue, will find more of it and won't spot red. When you actively engage in looking for red, you'll find more of it than when you were looking for blue. But in the whole time of this exercise, be honest, has the number of red things or the number of blue things in the room actually changed? No, it hasn't. Think about it this way. I'll see lots of people for things like fear of flying, and almost all phobic flyers that I come across, they'll say, I'm terrified of turbulence or crashing or the plane exploding in a fiery ball of, The number of people who have become obsessed with these thoughts. I've been imagining it's going to crash ever since I booked the flight 6 months ago. I haven't come across anyone who's actually had that happen to them. Thinking these things doesn't make it happen. Remember that. Thinking these things doesn't make it happen. One thing that I think is so crucial is not, and this is why I don't like the law of attraction, because it encourages people to become so absorbed in their thoughts that they treat them as real. In many ways, people have much more psychological liberation when they see the truth of the matter, which is the thoughts that we have are just thoughts. If we're able to have the thoughts and realize they're just thoughts, they're just images, they're just words, it means the physical response to those thoughts is reduced. I think this is a greater kindness that we can be giving people, rather than helping people to become more afraid of their own internal experience. We need to help people become less afraid of their internal experience. The idea is not to get people so that they never have unpleasant thoughts. It's that they don't buy into them because they know they're just thoughts. Go and find someone, for example, who's okay flying, who doesn't really have a problem flying. And then you ask them this question. Have you ever had any negative thoughts about flying? You know what they'll say? They'll go, well, yeah, of course. And then get really curious, lean in and say to them, well, in that case, what techniques do you use in order not to freak out or to have panic or to have anxiety? And they'll look at you and they'll go, I don't know. It never even occurred to them they had to do anything to get rid of the negative thought. Why? Because it's just a thought. They don't have to do anything to stay safe. However, someone, imagine that they believed very strongly in the law of attraction. They get a thought. What if I'm bringing crashing into my life. I'm willing this to happen. What does this say about me? Why do I have a death wish? And why do I this? And why do I that? And will the plane really be safe? And oh my word! And now they like to get very absorbed in that thought. That thought's going to become a problem to them. And it's not because it's a negative thought. It's because they believed too much in it. So if you want to believe in the law of attraction, that's fine. You go for it. But one thing I would suggest that you attract more into your life is the understanding that they're just thoughts. And that thoughts in and of themselves can't hurt. That in and of itself will give you greater psychological liberation than buying into this idea that success will happen by just thinking of it. By the way, that's the other downside to the law of attraction. Rather than people getting up and taking massive action to do things, to make things happen, to explore opportunities, they do things from a perspective of, if I just believe it's going to happen, then it will happen. Well, that's fine, but you still have to do something and take action too. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm Howard Cooper. Subscribe, like, comment, share your experiences. And if you agree with me, great. If you don't, tell me why. Speak soon.